Hi everyone, this video will be on creating geometry in code for facing, OD turning, and parting using Mastercam. We'll be working with the birthday cake print. First thing we're going to do is pull up Mastercam. And we're going to get into Wireframe and start creating our geometry. So if we go back into view and we're going to pull up our X and Y axis, we're going to go just create a line endpoint, and we're going to start off by creating our center line. And create that line, and then length over here 3.0, and then green check. All right, so from there we can remove our X and Y. If we go back into view like this. Okay. All right. The next thing we want to do is go back into Wireframe, and we're going to offset an entity. We're going to start making our diameters and our shoulders. So if we click offset, and we're going to do the distance from the center line to our biggest diameter. The biggest diameter is 1.5, so we can go 1.5 divided by 2. 0.75. So we'll click our center line, and we'll click just above it, and then there we go. Green check. Now if we right click, we can make all these colors the same. We just hover over clear colors, and then click that, and all of our colors are the same. Now we're going to do a line endpoint, and we're going to connect these two lines to make the back of the part. Green check. So now from here, we can do our next diameter, which will go back into offset. And looking at the print, that diameter is going to be 1.220. So we'll divide that by 2, because we're working off the center line. Hit enter, click the center line, then click above it, and there's that second line. Green check. And we'll go right click. Now we're going to make our first shoulder. This is working off the back of the part. So offset. And that's going to be 1 inch from the back, 1.0. Click that shoulder, the back of the part, and click over to the right. And there's our next shoulder. Green check. So we can start to kind of clean this up a little bit if we want. If we go to divide, we can click this out, and we can click this out, and we can click that out. So there we go. We got 2 diameters, the shoulder and the back of the part. So now we need our last diameter. So offset, and that number is going to be 0.845 divided by 2. Enter. Center line, click above it, green check. Now we're going to right click, clear colors. There we go. And then we're going to create one more shoulder. So we go to offset, and it's going to be 2 inches from the back of the part. We click the back of the part, click to the right, and there's that. And we can go green check. Now we can clean this up again. We'll go divide. So we're going to remove this, remove that, remove this, remove that. Okay, now we're going to remove the back of this back line, and we will green check. We'll right click, remove all colors, clear all colors, excuse me. Okay, and then we're going to make this a center line. We go down to the double line, to the dotted line, and there is our part geometry. Very simple. We got 3 diameters, we got 2 shoulders, and right now this is set up as our Z0. So we're going to change that around. All right, so to move our axis here, first we're going to select everything. Then we're going to go into transform and dynamic. And now we should have our X and Y here. We're going to go to the beginning of the part. Make sure you line everything up with the face. And the X needs to be on the center line. Now that we have it selected, we're going to move it back and line it up with the back nose. And green check. And there we go. So now our front of our part is here. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is start pulling up some operations. We're going to face the part, we're going to define our stock, then we will face it, then we will rough it, finish it, and then part it. Alright, so I went to machine, selected lathe, and selected my lathe, my Haas lathe that I'm going to be using to produce the code for this machine, for this program. Right, so the first thing we have to do is go into tool settings, and we're going to assign tool numbers sequentially. So we're going to check that. All right. Next thing we're going to do is go to stock setup. Now from here, we want to make sure that our plane is on top to this, and our stock left spindle. That's what we want, and we're going to go to properties. So from here, we want to use 2-inch diameter stock. That's what we're going to be using to make this. Length, 5 inches should be good. The overall length of the piece is 3 inches. We're going to hang on to 1.5 inches, and we want some extra stock for parting. So 5 inches should work. We're going to use margarines, so we're going to hit that. And we want to add 30 thou on the right. This way we have some stock to face off. And here we can hit X. Green check, my apologies. All right. And then we're going to go to chuck jaws. And we're going to hit properties here. And parameters. And outside diameter. Okay, very good. Position from stock. We're going to hit that. And then grip length. And we're going to say 1.5. Then we're going to green check. And we're going to green check again. And there we go. So you see we have our jaws. We have our geometry. And we have our stock. And here's our center line. So now we can start pulling up operations. All right, now that we have our geometry, our stock, and our jaws up, we can start putting together some machining operations. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click over on Toolpath Group 1. I'm going to rename this to Facing, Turning, and Parting. Alright, and then from here, I'm going to go up to Lathe. No, excuse me. I'm going to go to Turning. And I'm going to go to Face. Alright, so I want to select my first tool. I'm going to select T0101. Select this, tool number 1. And these are going to be our cutting parameters. So you can adjust these accordingly. I'm going to leave them fit, but I would recommend that you adjust them. Alright, so while we're in parameters, we're going to put a comment in here that says facing up. And then we're going to go back up here to face parameters. I'm going to click this tab. Okay, so we want to make sure that we finish Z at 0. I'm going to do that. And entry is 0.1. So that looks good. Finish step over. Maximum amount of passes. So I'm going to say overstep. I'm going to do 30 thou. And overcut amount, I'm going to say 50 thou. I'm going to green check that. Okay, so if we look here, we can see that I'm going to take multiple passes and I'm coming past the center line to face it. So we have this operation up. We can select the operation. And then we can backplot. Give it a minute to load. Here we go. And multiple passes to our face. Okay. Very good. We got that. Next thing we want to do is go to rough. Okay, so now we have to enter a chain to let the program know what geometry we want to reference. So we're going to use a partial chain here, and we're going to click this diameter back to this one. So this is the geometry that the program is going to reference. So we're going to green check this. Okay. I'm going to use the same tool here, T101, 31 thou radius. I'm going to leave all this stuff the same, but you guys can change it accordingly. And we're going to roughen parameters. A few things that I want to change here. First thing I want to do is lead in, lead out. Okay, so we're going to do lead out, and what this is going to do is extend our stock for parting off. So 0.25, that should give us more than enough room to part off. Okay, so that looks good. And next thing we want to do is stock recognition. And we want to do use stock for outer boundary. That looks good. So we're going to green check. So looking here, you can see that our stock is extended right here, that 1/4 inch for parting. And that stock boundary that we made is now going to be roughed out. So if we select all operations and we backplot, you can see that all happening again. I didn't change the depth to cut, I didn't change the finishes or anything, so that's all up to you guys of how much you want to do. Alright, so now we got our facing and our roughing. Now we can do our finish passes, and then we can part this thing off. One thing I want to go back and do, which I forgot, was go back to lathe rough under parameters, and under comment toolpath parameters, go to comment, and we can do a rough OD. These notes are going to show up in the program. It's just very nice for organization. Let's do that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is go up to finish. Okay, so we're going to do a partial chain, this button here. We're going to select this, and to there. And we're going to green check. Alright, and I'm going to change my tool. I want a 35 degree. Let's see if I can find it. Right here. Alright, so I'm going to change this station number to 2. I already changed tool number to 2 and offset number to 2. I'm going to put a comment in here to finish OD and finish parameters. And same thing, we want to do lead in, lead out. We're going to do lead out, extend, the same amount we did before, 0.25. Green check. Tool path, finish parameters, anything else? Everything looks good. We're going to stock to leave in the X, 0. Stock to leave in the Z, 0. Number of passes, 1. So we will green check. Okay, now we're going to select all operations, and we will backplot. See if we can go a little bit slower, and we will begin it. Just waiting for it to load. All right, so here's our facing. Few passes coming past 0. To roughing. Notice down here it's adding at the end of the part, it's adding extra stock, so we can part that off. And then a different tool should pop up for the finish. There we go. That's that. All right, so the last operation we need to do is our part off tool. So we're going to go up here to general, and we're going to look for cutoff. Go cutoff, and then we are going to click parameters. Select cutoff boundary point. So we're going to select the end of our piece right here. Okay, now we get to choose our tool. So we will do the OD grooving. All right, tool 3. Tool 3, 1/8 inch. That looks good. We'll do comment, parting tool, and we're going to go and cut off parameters. And all this looks good. All right, so the X tangent point is going to be stopping at 0. If you wanted to go past 0, you could. Or if you wanted it to come up short, you could break it off manually, and you can do that too. Incremental, incremental step of 100,000. Should part it off and the part will be gone. There you go. Easy peasy. All right, now that we have proved out our simulation and all the graphics look good, we can pull up the code. So we can go to G1, save as .nc, green check. We're going to save this as whatever you'd like. And a spot you can find it. And it's going to generate the code. And then this is going to be our program. Simple facing, turning, and parting. So we look here, we have facing op and all our operations. We have a rough OD op. And then we have tool 2, finish OD. And then we have tool 3, parting tool. All right. Look forward to getting this part done and then moving on to the rest of the operations of drilling and boring.